Hello everybody, this is Richard here coming to you from the Terraform Homestead. We are a non-profit focusing on sustainable living and natural building and basically helping people live a simpler, happier life. We are deep into this series now. This is our final episode of this series. We are finishing this project up and I'm so excited to show you guys the transformation from, trying his best 2015, 7 years ago kitchen to actually something that is nice and professional and functional. We got our countertops finished. Be sure to watch to the end to see the reveal. This is like the big part that everybody loves, is seeing from the beginning to the end. Thank you guys for watching. We're gonna get into this video right now.
Grow your garden, find your tribe, let your heart's burning side move your body towards the light.
All right, so we're back here. It's day 2 of the right side kitchen renovation. Yesterday I pushed really hard to get this point, cabinets out, plumbing out, cabinets painted. First thing I'm gonna do today is clean up the house because this is ridiculous. All right, so we're getting our forms in. I was a little bit short on these backing edge forms that I'm using for my cutouts. So what I had to do is actually use this front form and cut a little bit more out of the sink, which not a big deal, just kind of a little bit annoying. So we got this rebar all in. One thing that I did do on this is make sure that it's laying a lot flatter. One of the issues I had over here was once I started pouring, that rebar started wanting to pop up. There's a couple spots, it's not super noticeable, but that rebar actually came through. So I want to make sure we're not doing that on this one. All right, it's a nice windy day out today. It's gonna be real fun to make some concrete. One thing that's super important with concrete, get all your tools laid out, get a plan in place, run through the thing through your head. Because if you're trying to run around and get stuff after it's starting to set, you're gonna have a bad time. All right, so we got our concrete poured. It's looking pretty good. I made it a little bit too wet, which is not the end of the world. I'm gonna let it dry out for a little bit, and then I can get the steel trowel on it and start cleaning it up. It's been maybe 18 hours, something like that, this concrete's been setting up. That's not long enough to really be buffing it, but I really want to get the sink back in because as long as this sink is out, I don't have a shower and I don't have a bathroom sink, and so that's gotten really annoying. I was able to get the forms off, get this all polished down. It's looking real good. I'll still let it dry for a couple days before I put the sealer on it. But I'm at a point where I can get the faucet back in, stove back in, all that fun stuff back in. First project for today is to get this shelf up. So this was actually part of our countertop, the butcher blocks we took out, and I got these cool floating bracket shelves. So I'm gonna give those a try. The challenge here is these need to be really, really perfect straight. I don't have a drill press. And on top of that, They're 8 inches long, and the shortest drill bit that I could find that was over 8 inches is like 22 inches long or something. What I did was made myself a little jig out of just some scrap stuff. The idea is that I can put that corner right there, get it all clamped down and nice, and hopefully... So that was super janky and awkward, but it worked pretty well. I need to chisel out just a hair more on this guy. But yeah, really happy with that. I'm gonna get these other 3 done. Got all of our holes drilled in this guy. They seem pretty good so far. I mean, I guess we'll see once we get it up on the wall. Alright, so we got our shelf in. That was not as traumatizing as I thought it was going to be. Really pretty happy with how this is looking. So, got shelf up, which is exciting, for our bulk pots and pans. And somewhat success on the sink-ish, sort of. So I ordered a new faucet scratch and dent thingy off eBay. I was able to get this one in a little more secure with some 2-part epoxy. So at least that one's in. One thing that really annoyed me was this little plug. It's just a little like piece of plastic that sticks in there. It was $4.50 for that. Like, stuff's gotten stupid expensive. I'm really happy with how this is coming together, getting some paint in. I got our Starlink cable rerun, so it's not all just janky and out there. I am very grateful to Elon Musk for color coordinating his router with my house. That was really appreciated. Right, it has been about a month that I've been living with this new kitchen, and I am so happy with this renovation. This place has just become so much more functional, so much more comfortable, a better office space for me to work in, because honestly, that other old desk that had the 2-level thing going on, I just never used it. I would always work in bed, so it's nice to have a space where I can actually work and do functional stuff and run my business, have a better place to cook. The inspiration for this project was when we started the main house and started that earth bag work, and I realized it's gonna be a long, long time before I get to live in that house. So it was time to renovate this place, get it more functional, get it comfortable, and make it something that I want to live in for the next 5 to 6 years, because that's how long it's gonna take to do that earth bag house. So I want to take you guys around, show you what we did, all the new features, and how they're working out. All right, coming into our kitchen. These new cabinets have been amazing. And so before, I just had the cabinets over here, and we didn't really have like a lot of functional space. It wasn't good organization. It wasn't good shelves, because there was just the under the sink shelving and then one giant shelf over here that everything just got thrown into and it wasn't organized. Now that we have more under counter storage, it's lovely to actually have a shelf for plates, have a shelf for bowls. One of the cool things that I did in here, because we are filming a lot, is having a technology cabinet. So I got USB splitter. It's got like 12 ports, so I can charge all the phones that I use for cameras, headphones, battery packs, speakers, have some extra storage for some miscellaneous electronics, tripods, things like that, and it all plugs in underneath the countertop. So no cords, just keeps the space a lot cleaner. Coming up, this new electrical system has been great. I love our outdoor lights outside. It just creates a good like ambiance outside at night. Having our little stations here for the most used appliances, our air fryer and coffee pot is great. Everything just tucks back into the wall. And also having a dedicated office space over here with a single countertop that fits nice and nice view outside of our saguaros and pizza ovens. This is that chair that I rebuilt. Works great. It's simple, clean. It's just nice to have a big countertop to work on. Another nice feature is this new shelf. So this was actually the desk that was here before. I got some hanging brackets or floating brackets, and now I'm able to store a lot more of our big pots and pans, things like that, that just felt awkward and didn't fit in a place before. One thing that kind of made me laugh, came in, got this paint, got these cabinet liners, and we have our Starlink router here. And I'm very, very pleased that Elon Musk decided to make the router perfectly match my house. Coming into the other side of the kitchen, which is mostly our cooking stuff, you can see we matched our concrete countertop. Been really happy with how these came out. They're, you know, it was my first pour, so there's a little wobbly in there, a little bit wavy in some spots. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it in general. Switch to this double sink. One thing that I'd like to tell people is, as you're designing a tiny house, as you're building a tiny house, think of your habits in your normal home, because they're not going to change. And for me, I hate doing dishes. I did switch to a double sink to hopefully make it a little bit easier, because I know with the one big sink, I would let it completely pile up and then it was just more miserable to clean. With this, I don't let myself put dirty dishes anywhere but one side, so only one side gets filled up and then I have less dishes to do in one pass. And over here, took our drying station that was in the countertop that wasn't really used and wasn't super functional. So I have a place to dry dishes, have a place to wash dishes over here. We have our stove over here, which is the same stove as before, but it's actually inset into the countertop like it's supposed to be. A nice little prep station. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed about having this upgrade is upgrading this little station here. So these are actually some industrial pegboards, metal pegboards, able to keep all of our spaces and accessible pots and pans actually organized. When you're designing and building a tiny house, vertical space is your best friend, so being able to get all this up and off the wall is great. Going back to storage. So again, before, these cabinets were totally full. Now, because we have the other side, there's really not much in here. Still have plenty of space in our cabinets. Another big thing was getting our trash from out and hidden and under the counter, which is really nice. So it's just not visible. Everything stays in there now. We have trash, recycling, and then underneath the fridge is paper stuff that gets burned out here because we got to deal with our own trash. I think one of the biggest improvements in here is this does not leak anymore. I got rid of the multiple sink system, put in a proper double sink system, got all the plumbing redone. I hate doing drainage plumbing. I hate doing plumbing in general, but now it doesn't leak on the floor whenever you put too much water down the sink, which is a huge improvement in my life. The other thing I've really liked about this upgrade is this. This is a really simple storage solution. Purchased it off Amazon, and it just puts all the spices accessible, out of the way, utilizing vertical space. All right, coming to the other side of the house, we have our new table. This was actually our piece of butcher block from the old kitchen, sanded down, sealed, and I bought these legs pretty cheap. I think they were like 30 or 40 bucks. And this is our new kind of dumping station in table. Also acts as another desk, which is nice because I tend to like bounce around the house all day. I don't like sitting in one spot for too long, so it's nice to have that. And also just have a spot because a lot of times I come in with tools in my pockets or screws or whatever hardware and just have a place to dump it. Stuff gets brought into my house, I know it goes on the table, it goes back out to the shop or wherever next time. A couple other little improvements are our new end tables. So this was actually our old butcher blocks, and just cut down, use some pocket hole screws to mount those to the wall, and made a couple end tables out of just our scrap stuff because I don't like to waste anything. This up here was another piece that I made. The antler a neighbor of mine found and gave me, and then this, I've started to get into some woodworking. Just made a little mount out of some mesquite wood. Thank you guys for watching this series. This is a wrap on this build. We have done so much work in here over the last 2 weeks. It has been an amazing project, and I'm so happy with how the results came out. This project costs in total around $1,500. The nice thing about that is our old commercial sink that we had in here, online I've been looking and they sell for about $1,500. So I'm hoping I can recoup all my money and have a much nicer kitchen, something that's much more stable long-term, and that honestly I won't be able to rip this out in 30 minutes like I did the other kitchen. Hope you guys enjoyed this series. If you are interested in what we're doing, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have a new series coming out for you next week.